Hello, sports fans. Mauricio here. Someday I'll tell you why I say sports fans. But this is a this is a video on group by queries. So we need to progress past the simple selecting of rows of data. We need to condense data, compile data, categorize data. So we don't want to see 16,000 rows of data. We want that grouped by something useful: day of week, major, class standing, customer, zip code. So clerical employees need to dig into every row, whatever the transaction is. They need to edit and add new transactions, edit transactions, archive transactions. So that's really the first part of using SQL select statements. So I put a SQL select statement here, and right now I have 150 rows of transaction data from the sales details table in my database. How many rows of sales transactions do you have? So the first part of using a SQL select statement is filtering the columns. So how many columns do you want? Well, as many columns as you put in the select statement. If you wanted all the columns, you would select star and just get all the columns. How do you filter the rows? Well, that's where the where statement comes in. So you can filter by product ID. You can filter by customer ID. I guess you'd have to feed it the customers. I think I have a customer too. But you can do a lot of, all right, 47 rows. So this is customer 2. 29 rows to customer 1002. I don't trust you, Featherman. I want to see the customer ID. Okay. There you go, customer. And okay, trust me now. So you can use a where statement to filter, and you could say where customer ID equals 2 or customer ID equals 1002, or you can use an in statement. Not sure if 1003 is one of my customers. We'll find out. Well, I got 88, so it must be in there. And you're not going to believe me because you're from Missouri. So customer 1, 1002, 1003. They didn't buy too much, but they're there. All right, so you filter a long list with a where statement. What do you do? And I encourage you to look for the following terms. Maybe use w3schools.com. You want to in, you want to and, you want to or, you want to not in, and I'll show you some of those things, but that's not really the purpose of this class. Is to I guess you would get all the rows and do something with them, like insert them into another table. But we need to move past that. So, but furthermore, first you learn how to select which columns. Then you need to filter which rows. And then what do you do with that data? And I'll tell you what a lot of people do with that data. They click this little corner box here and then copy with headers and copy it to Excel and do your calculations, like total things up. But we're going to show how to do that today with this group by query. So let's just go ahead and run it and then show it to you. So we have a group by query. So group up and do these totalings or aggregations. Do these aggregations based on dimension, and we could use product ID, but then that'll be a little vague. So you don't know what a product 1006 is, do you? Neither do I. So let me Control Z that. So when you condense data, what else condenses data, Featherman? A column chart. So the same thing you're showing me with the group by query, I should get the same answers if I put product ID in the x-axis of a column chart in Power BI? Yes. Show me that, Featherman. Okay. I encourage you to turn on Power BI and verify for yourself. But let's go through a group by query. Okay, so let me back up. Group by queries is the probably number one most important tool other than the join. Group by queries are the number one tool for analysts to condense data and make a report, and then you condense data on many different dimensions. So we really need to focus on dimensions now. What's a dimension? Person, place, or thing. Who, what, where, when, how. How are we going to total this data? Well, what dimensions do you have, Featherman? Well, we have a customer dimension. And, eventually we could have customers in cities. So we could flesh out this geographic dimension, who is the customers, where do they live, so maybe we want to know the top 10 customers that are buying shirts, or we want to know the top 5 cities that are buying lilac soap. So you do grouping to summarize piles of data. So here's a concept, wide and tall. So you can have a data table or data set that is very wide, many columns, and you can have, and that's usually a dimension table. If, for example, customers, you may have a lot of information about customer contact information, etc., and their preferences. And categorizations of those customers, like rankings. And a very tall table would be a transaction table. You've got, hundreds of transactions a day in our Shopify website. And one more time, you make your Shopify products and categories whatever you want, and I'll do the same. And hopefully you'll have some fun with it. So we need to group sales, in this case, by a dimension. So you mean you could swap out the dimensions and then group things on something differently? Yes. Well, I don't believe you. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just do it. So what do we get? We condensed. And that's what you do for managers. You condense data for managers. You wouldn't give a spreadsheet with 20,000 rows to a manager unless you're putting on top of that Power BI dashboard or whatever. Say, here, play with the data. Do your own filtering and sorting, boss. But, you make condensed reports. Who are our top 10 products? What are our top 10 products? So there, in the group by, there's a having statement where we could filter down this. So right now I have 33 products that were sold. Some of the products weren't sold, so we'll show how to do that later. But what do we have here? We have a sales details transaction table, and we're trying to summarize it. Doesn't that sound a little common for an analyst or manager? Tell me all the times this product was sold. Tell me all the times this product was scrapped in manufacturing. Tell me all the times this product was saved into the warehouse today. So what do we have right here? We're grouping this data by product. And just to make it easier to read, we have product name. So these are dimensions. So here's some rules, sports fans. Number 1, in your select statement. Well, okay, so when we're having a group by query, so we're grouping by the dimensions. Rule number 1, whatever dimensions you put in the select statement, put the exact same number of dimensions in your group by statement. The order by is optional, and you can have 0 ordering, or you can have order by one dimension then another dimension, or whatever. Order by state and then city within state. Order is sorting. I wish it said sort by, but it doesn't. So number 1 rule of group by queries, whatever dimensions you have to put the same dimensions in your group by statement. What's number 2 rule? No numbers in the, don't list any numbers here in the select portion. The only numbers you have in your group by query are numbers you're going to count up. And what do we have here? We're going to count the rows, and we're going to total up the units. We're going to total up the each line total to get a revenue, and we're going to multiply that to get a profit generated. So rule number 2, you would not put another number up here. And yeah, I get it. Sales ID really is a dimension because you're never going to add it or multiply it. So we could put that there, but that's going to totally ruin our grouping. So now we're going to get more rows. So again, the rule, put it in your, oops. So we're going to get more than 33 rows. Now I'm back to 150. So sale ID, so great. Product 1, well, you might want that. Product, what sales was product 1 on? Yeah, that's 18 rows of letting you know what sale product the red hats were on. Maybe that's what you want. But probably you want a little bit more summarization than that. So great. The product 1 was sold on sales ID 456, and how many units, etc. But you would so you might even want to do that, but you would never, for example, put sales price up there. That's a good one. You would never group your sales by sales price. I mean, well, I want to see all the sales of things that were $20 versus $30. So again, I'm at 38 rows of data. So I don't know. Not understanding why these numbers should be different. But anyway, you would not use any numbers in a group by query unless they're in an aggregating function. Oh, Featherman, stick your rules. All right, go ahead and cause your own frustration, as I've caused frustration for myself. 1 minute to go. So what does a group by do? It summarizes, it totals, it can count. How many times was it sold? That's a count. All right, so we better run this again. So we sold red hats 18 times, and we sold Coug hats 8 times. How many units did we have? That's a sum. Well, we sold a lot of units of red hats and not as many as green hats. So this allows you to summarize lots of transaction data into grouping, and you could sum, count, average, and it's pretty useful, and so give it a try. Take care.